Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. Ralf Rangnick recently confirmed that Dean Henderson and Donny van der Beek will be starting against Young Boys tonight. Dean Henderson, he's only been in goal for one game so far this season. That was West Ham in the Carabao Cup. Revert back to earlier on in the season, Henderson was out with COVID for a while. Henderson doesn't really get in goal now, does he? Because revert back to last summer, De Gea reclaimed the #1 spot back. Henderson wants a loan move away from Man United in January. At one point last season, Henderson got the #1 jersey and he did well in a lot of the games he was in goal for last season. Before the start of last season, he signed a 6-year contract with Man United, so reflecting on that, he committed his future to the club. Henderson has got that experience behind him because he endured 2 successful loans with Sheffield United and he's had other loan spells before. As for Donny van der Beek, he didn't start against Crystal Palace recently, but he did come on in the game. Didn't start against Arsenal, but he did come on in the game. Didn't start against Chelsea, but came on in that game. There's a good chance that Van der Beek will leave Man United in January. The only way he can be persuaded to stay is if he gets the opportunities he's been demanding under Ralf Rangnick. Because revert back to when Man United had Solskjaer, Van der Beek got nowhere near enough opportunities, and reflecting on that, Van der Beek was very frustrated. Van der Beek's only scored 2 goals for the club and he's been at Manchester United for over a year and a half now. This season is his 2nd full season at Man United. Man United got Van der Beek for 40 million with add-ons included. He's got a contract with Man United until 2025. There's an option of a further year. Van der Beek's versatile, he can play in 3 different roles. Ralf Rangnick will be heavily rotating for this game against Young Boys tonight because it is a meaningless game. You know, Manchester United are already into the last 16 of the Champions League. The game against Young Boys tonight is Manchester United's final game of the group stage. Manchester United lost their first fixture to Young Boys 2-1. Obviously Lingard cost Man United that game because he played that horrendous back pass late on, and Wan-Bissaka got sent off in the first game against Young Boys. Manchester United are coming into this game on the back of a 1-0 win against Crystal Palace. Reflecting on that win against Crystal Palace, it was Ralf Rangnick's first win in charge of Manchester United. Ralf Rangnick is Manchester United's interim manager until the end of the season. Then after that, Rangnick will continue in a consultancy role for a further 2 years. By the way, Rangnick confirmed in his press conference building up to this game that Chris Armas and Sascha Lenz will join his coaching staff. Chris Armas is the assistant manager and Sascha Lenz is a sports psychologist. Rangnick has been given a £100 million transfer budget for January. Rangnick wants Amadou Haidara as his first signing at Man United. Amadou Haidara has a £33 million release clause. Revert back to last week, the Manchester Evening News said that Rangnick wants a Timo Werner reunion at Man United. Now I'm hearing that Manchester United have expressed an interest in Rudiger from Chelsea. I heard that went in for John McGinn as well. But with £100 million, Rangnick will be able to get 2 or 3 players in. Manchester United definitely need a centre defensive midfielder. Before Manchester United, Ralf Rangnick was the head of sports and development at Lokomotiv Moscow. I heard not so long ago that Ralf Rangnick would be interested in taking the Man United job on a permanent basis. But I am expecting Manchester United to beat Young Boys tonight. Young Boys are sitting 4th in the Swiss League at the moment. Their current manager is David Wagner. Before Young Boys, he managed Schalke, he managed Huddersfield, and before he managed Borussia Dortmund's reserve team. Manchester United's next league game is Norwich at the weekend. Now revert back to my last video. I give you the news on Edwin van der Sar. So Edwin van der Sar believes Ajax may lose Erik ten Hag in the summer. Erik ten Hag has been linked with the permanent role at Man United. And revert back to earlier on in the season, there was reports coming out saying that Erik ten Hag is said to be interested in the Man United job and Ajax will not stand in his way if he wants to leave at the end of the season. And Edwin van der Sar expects a future role at Manchester United. Van der Sar is a CEO at Ajax. He's worked as a CEO at Ajax since 2016. Edwin van der Sar is the former Manchester United goalkeeper. He was at Manchester United from 2006 to 2011, so he was Man United's goalkeeper for around 5 years. He won 4 Premier League titles. He won the League Cup. He won the Champions League and he won the Community Shield. So, yeah. Edwin van der Sar is leaving Manchester United at the end of the year. Revert back to April, it got announced that Ed Woodward is leaving Manchester United when that European Super League came into the equation Well, there again, it said earlier on this season that Ed Woodward was in talks to stay at Manchester United under a new role. Ed Woodward has had a 16-year association with the club. But at the end of the season, Manchester United will get a permanent manager. Pochettino, he's been linked with a permanent role at Man United. Revert back to the other week, Roberto Mancini was also mentioned. It said Man United consider hiring Roberto Mancini instead of Pochettino. Recently though, Roberto Mancini denied becoming Manchester United's next manager. Revert back to earlier on this season, Brendan Rodgers was also mentioned. But I initially disregarded Rodgers because earlier on this season it said Brendan Rodgers dismissed links to the Man United job. He come out and said, I'm proud to be at Leicester. Man United did make initial contact with Brendan Rodgers. Earlier on this season, reports were saying that Brendan Rodgers was house hunting in Cheshire. And that stirred some suggestions up, and at that point he said Rodgers was the favourite to replace Solskjaer at Man United. Manchester United have sacked 4 permanent managers since Ferguson. Manchester United sacked David Moyes after 10 months. Man United finished 7th under the David Moyes era. That's the lowest we've finished in the Premier League era. Manchester United sacked Louis van Gaal after 2 years. We won the FA Cup under Van Gaal. Then Manchester United sacked Jose Mourinho after 2.5 years. Mourinho did enjoy one good season at Man United because he won 3 trophies in his first season. Then 3 trophies he won was the Europa League, the Carabao Cup and the Community Shield. The reasons it didn't work out under Mourinho though is because he had bad disputes with the board. Because the board weren't recommending the players that he wanted to get in. And he had bad disputes with the top players. And over 2 weeks ago, Manchester United sacked Solskjaer following the 4-1 defeat to Watford. As you all know, when Solskjaer got officially sacked, Solskjaer did a farewell interview and he got emotional in that farewell interview, which is understandable because Solskjaer was part of the club for a long time. He was Manchester United manager for almost 3 years and he enjoyed 11 years as a United player, so that's almost 14 years in total, and plus Solskjaer adores the club. But despite Manchester United sacking Solskjaer over 2 weeks ago now, all United fans still adore him. They are still chanting his name, obviously reflecting on what he did for the club. But Manchester United certainly made the right decision sacking him because Solskjaer could not take the team any further. I don't think Man United really wanted to sack him, but it was left with no choice in the end but to sack him. But revert back to the last few months of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's managerial tenure at Man United. Man United's performances were very, very poor and the results were very, very bad as well. But not all of the blame stemmed from Solskjaer, reflecting on the poor performances and results. Some of the blame stemmed from Solskjaer because his tactics and his team selections were questioned a lot. But there was also players that had to take responsibility for those poor performances as well. Solskjaer has no proven pedigree as a manager. The clubs he's managed in his managerial career. He managed Manchester United's reserve team for a couple of years. Obviously managed Cardiff. He enjoyed a very short tenure at Cardiff. He got sacked from Cardiff because he got Cardiff relegated. Ollie enjoyed 2 spells at Mulder. Won a few Norwegian titles with Mulder, but they're not a big club. And of course he managed Manchester United's senior squad. You know, Solskjaer had a proven pedigree when he was a United player because he won a lot of trophies as a Man United player. And his most iconic moment as a player was when he scored the winning goal in the Champions League final at the Nou Camp back in 1999. You know, Solskjaer won the club the treble, and that is the club's greatest achievement. You know, last summer, Manchester United enjoyed a very good summer transfer window. Manchester United made 4 signings. 3 of the 4 signings were major signings, and Man United must have spent around 141 million last summer. Plus, revert back to last summer, Solskjaer, when he was United manager, got very strong backing from the board. You know, the Glazers backed him, Ed Woodward backed him, our director of football, John Murtaugh, backed him, and Darren Fletcher backed him. So, obviously reflecting on that, when Solskjaer was Man United manager, you know, the pressure was on him at the start of this season. And he knew at the start of this season that this season was going to be absolutely massive for him. But I just felt as though that the expectations were far too high for Solskjaer to exceed as Man United manager. Solskjaer did not win a trophy as United manager, and I did say, didn't I, that he wasn't capable of winning trophies as a manager. Manchester United have not won a trophy since 2017. You know, Solskjaer did get appointed in as the caretaker manager back in December 2018. He was the caretaker manager for 3 months, and he did well as the caretaker manager, so the club decided to give him the job on a permanent basis back in March 2019. Manchester United spent over £400 million under Solskjaer, and when Solskjaer was Man United manager, he signed 14 players. Solskjaer also got rid of a lot of players when he was Man United manager. You know, he got rid of players permanently, and he also loaned players out. You know, in Solskjaer's first full season when he was Man United manager, he got Man United to 3 semi-finals and got him a 3rd place finish. You know, in his second full season as United manager, you know, he got Man United to the Carabao Cup semi-final, the FA Cup quarter-final and the Europa League final. It was his first major final when he was United manager, but unfortunately he didn't win it. And last season got us a 2nd place finish. And when Man United had Solskjaer, Man United went 29 games unbeaten away from home in the Premier League. So there you go. But Manchester United have not been the same team since Ferguson retired. You know, Man United have been playing catch up for a long time now. I think Ralf Rangnick's though going to bring consistency back to Man United. But we've just got to accept that no one's going to replicate what Ferguson did. You know, Ferguson's the greatest manager of all time. You know, Ferguson brought success to Manchester United. He won 30-odd trophies, including 13 Premier League titles. But Fergie didn't settle in straight away because he didn't win out in his first 4 years at Man United. Good job he didn't get sacked any time in his first 4 years where he didn't win anything, or Man United wouldn't have had any success now. Ferguson was at Manchester United for around 26-27 years, so reflecting on that, he was a very long-serving manager. Manchester United, you know, have got very, very good players, and like I've already mentioned on my recent videos, we're going to get the best now out of these group of players under Ralf Rangnick. You know, it was a very good team performance against Crystal Palace recently. You know, look who we've got. You know, we've got the best player in the world overall in Cristiano Ronaldo. You've got Mason Greenwood, that's a talented player. You've got Rashford, that's good when he wants to be, but there's aspects of his game that I've got to improve. You know, Jadon Sancho's done pretty well since Solskjaer got sacked, which is good news from a Man United perspective. You've got Bruno Fernandes, that's also an exceptional player. You know, Cavani's a good player. You know, Donny van der Beek's a good player, but I haven't had a great deal of a perception on him at Man United because he hasn't been given enough game time. You know, Pogba's a good player, not only a good player, he's an imperative player. Pogba's been out for a while with a thigh injury. Pogba's out for the rest of the year with this thigh injury. You know, will Pogba leave Manchester United next year? You know, could the appointment of Ralf Rangnick convince Paul Pogba to stay? You know, Fred, don't think he's a good player overall, but I think Fred's done very, very well in his last 3 games. You know, he scored a stunning goal against Crystal Palace recently. You know, you've got Tellez, that's a good left back. Tellez has started Manchester United's last 4 games in all competitions and he's done well, but Tellez has only played because Luke Shaw's not been available. You know, Luke Shaw's been out with a head injury. He got the head injury in the 4-1 defeat to Watford. I've been impressed with Delors recently as well. Delors started our last 2 games. Delors started against Arsenal because Wan-Bissaka got a hand injury. Our first choice fullbacks are good when they want to be, but haven't really been that good this season. I've got to make an admission regarding Shaw. He's been terrible this season when he has been fit, and I'm shocked in that aspect because last season Luke Shaw was superb. You know, I'm sure at some point Luke Shaw will regain his form, and as for Wan-Bissaka, you know, he's good defensively, but the attacking side of his game is not so good. And, you know, Man United have got Eric Bailly. That's a very, very good centre-half, but Bailly doesn't get in the team much, does he? Bailly has only made 4 appearances this season. The last game he played was the 1-1 draw with Chelsea. The only reason he played that game is because Maguire was suspended. Bailly lost his place in the team a while ago, didn't he, with the club signing Varane last summer, and for some reason Lindelof's been preferred to Bailly. You know, I think Varane is also a very, very good centre-half. He's already endured, though, 2 injuries since he signed for the club because he's out with a hamstring injury at the moment. And revert back to earlier on this season, Varane had a groin injury and he was out with that groin injury for a few weeks. You know, Man United have got David De Gea. That's a very, very good goalkeeper. You know, he's done really well this season. And I also like Dean Henderson as well. So anyway, guys, we'll be on for the match reaction either tonight or tomorrow morning. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon.